Spies have been sending virus pathogens straight to China as a part of a global program. And it's now being made public that these Chinese spies, they were able to get through Canadian biolabs. Now, there is a lot to talk about here, and we're going to go from Canada to California, all the way to Davos and the World Economic Forum. Some analysts are now calling conspiracy theories as trailers because they always seem to predict what's coming. From the pandemic to human rights being trampled on, this is something that is for sure going to open your eyes. Now, before we go ahead and split this thing wide open, all I ask is that you guys take 1 second, drop a quick like for the video. I totally appreciate it. And thank you so much for always sharing these videos, specifically sharing this video. I want to thank you guys so much for doing that. So let's go ahead and start with the World Economic Forum and their program where they develop young global leaders. Now, as many of you guys know, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, he's just one of these leaders. In fact, the same could be said for Angela Merkel, former Chancellor of Germany, Mauricio Macri, the former president of Argentina, and Vladimir Putin, Russia's incumbent president. Now, believe it or not, Klaus Schwab, who is the founder of the World Economic Forum, he has high praise for all of these leaders, but he really takes a liking to Canada's Justin Trudeau. Why? Well, according to him, more than half of Trudeau's cabinet is composed of young global leaders from the World Economic Forum. Now, this was revealed in a public interview where he was questioned about his program. Schwab was even questioned in saying that it was important for the World Economic Forum to penetrate these cabinets, to have their members in positions of power. He says that besides Canada, this is the case for Argentina and for France. He also said something about having global shapers in 450 cities around the world. And yes, this includes cities right here in the United States.
What we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina, and so on, is that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. What is important for me is those young global leaders have an opportunity to come here, and we, in addition to the young global leaders, we have now the global shapers in 450 cities around the world.
And since we're already on the topic of things we can find here at home, do you guys remember what was discovered in California late in 2022? A biolab was found there with pathogens labeled as HIV and Ebola. And it wasn't just a few vials. There were reportedly thousands of these vials inside this lab. So the biolab itself was illegally placed there by a Chinese owner. The warehouse in which the lab was discovered in was thought to be vacant for more than a decade. That was until somebody investigated it.
From October 2022 until spring 2023, this warehouse at 850 I Street in Reedley was operating a biological lab. It was a well-kept secret. After seeing signs of activity there, the city of Reedley asked Fresno County Department of Public Health to investigate.
Just a significant amount of over 36 refrigerator freezers located on site, and there was a lot of biological agents on there. So there was a lot of contents of blood, serum, everything that a biological lab would normally have.
Las Vegas-based Prestige Biotech was doing the testing. The company was using hundreds of mice, which had to be euthanized.
Here at the Public Health Department, we operate our own lab, so we're very well versed in the legal requirements and how to maintain and control an infectious agent. And there was just a complete absence of those controls in place at the warehouse.
So the optics of this entire situation looks absolutely terrifying, especially when you take into consideration what happened in Canada back in 2019. So in 2019, 2 scientists at a high security infectious disease laboratory in Canada, they were removed from their positions for failing to protect sensitive material and information. They allegedly also lied about their links to China. Now, if you're wondering why we're only just now hearing about this, well, it's because this information was hidden from the public. Now, before we expose why this information was hidden from the public and the shocking new plans that have been revealed, I'd first like to share some statistics with you. 78% of US breast cancer is ER+. 1 in 8 women experience experience breast cancer. 300,000 women are diagnosed in the US every single year, and breast cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death in American women. Now, while these statistics are rather disturbing, thankfully, ATOS Therapeutics Incorporated, the sponsor of today's video, restores hope with their groundbreaking platform trial of neoadjuvant treatment of locally advanced breast cancer. Introducing Seattle-based ATOS Therapeutics Incorporated, a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company developing innovative medicines in areas of significantly unmet medical need in oncology with a focus on breast cancer. As of February of 2024, this year, ATOS Therapeutics announced that their Z-endoxifen arm of their ongoing phase 2 I-SPY 2 clinical trial has fully enrolled and has recently announced their first patent dosing of their Z-endoxifen. ATOS Therapeutics Incorporated currently trades on the NASDAQ under ticker symbol ATOS as shown on your screen. First, they hope to detect and prevent breast cancer by reducing mammographic breast density. Secondly, they want to give premenopausal women diagnosed with ER plus HER2 breast cancer a treatment option that does not require ovarian function suppression. Z-endoxifen is being evaluated in the endocrine optimization pilot protocol targeting patients with newly diagnosed ER plus invasive breast cancer for whom chemotherapy is expected to provide little or no benefit. According to published studies, Z-endoxifen is a competitive inhibitor of ER alpha and represses ER alpha transcriptional activity. The National Cancer Institute, NCI, and others have studied Z-endoxifen and have demonstrated promising results in the treatment of breast cancer as well as the treatment of other solid tumors. Treatment with Z-endoxifen may avoid off-target effects of tamoxifen and remaining metabolites, potentially increasing adherence by improving safety profile. ATOS has a patented Z-endoxifen chemical process and composition of matter. They also have a patented oral enteric capsule formulation of Z-endoxifen, which has been studied in numerous non-clinical studies and in 4 completed phase 1 or 2 studies at doses of 1 milligram a day to 4 milligrams a day with an acceptable safety profile. Now, according to Yahoo Finance, as of the date of this recording, ATOS Therapeutic stock is currently trading at $1.20 per share, but has an incredible estimated 1-year target of $4.58. Be sure to click on the link down below in the description of this video to learn more about ATOS Therapeutics. Now let's get back to our program. The scientists, they all work with Canada's National Microbiology Laboratory. Now, when questioned about their involvement in different Chinese programs, it's said that they lied about being connected to all of them. They persisted with their lies, even though the evidence was presented to them that they were indeed connected to these programs. And this was all confirmed by Canadian Security Intelligence Service, which serves as the country's spy agency. Now, you may be wondering what the nature of their work was, or what were they alleged to have been providing to China. It said that the two scientists were sending both information and pathogens back to China. Now, rumors are that they were part of the Thousands Talents Plan. This is a program that was meant to attract top scientists to work with China. Now, you might wonder why anyone would want to do this, but to answer that question, it may come down to money. The signing bonus for this particular program is estimated at around $420,000 to $700,000. This is just the signing bonus. Now, what happened after these scientists were caught in Canada? Well, they were promptly sent back to China, and not long after that, something big happened. All of the evidence for this case was shut behind closed doors. Then came the snap elections in 2021 that no one seemingly wanted in Canada. The election marked the third election victory for Trudeau. Many wonder as to why this was even needed because Canadians did not vote to give Trudeau the majority government that he wanted. And he actually acknowledged the voters and said that it's clear what people want. He acknowledges that the people don't want to be thinking about a sudden election when they're still dealing with the pandemic at the time. And so this reminds me of the great lengths that Canada's government went through just to impose specific mandates. Now, if anybody here is from Canada, you guys can confirm this, please, in the comments down below. It's said that anyone who fought against vaccines or masking, they were deemed as xenophobic and racist. There was also the matter of how Trudeau treated truckers who refused to get jabbed. They had their bank accounts frozen and their finances left in shambles. This is a move that even lawmakers here in our country criticized because many felt as if these people were being oppressed. Others even called it outright bullying as they just wanted their basic rights to be respected. Which brings me to something that Trudeau said back in 2017. When asked about a just society, the Prime Minister said this: "To measure a just society is when their government can recognize rights even when it's difficult, even when it's unpopular. He emphasized that Canada was a society that stands up for people's rights, even when the government fails to do so. Fast forward to the pandemic and an election rally in Calgary where Trudeau looked to have changed his mind about that. In his fiery speech, he confirmed that people are free to do what they want to do with their bodies. If they don't want to get vaccinated, it's all right. But after this, he said that these people who refuse the jab shouldn't expect to get the same rights as everyone else. If you're unvaccinated in Canada, then expect to be turned away when trying to board an airplane or a train, because he says that you're putting them at risk.
Diversity fosters new ideas. New ideas generate the experimentation needed to make the most of the fourth industrial revolution.
Measure of a society, of a just society, is not whether we stand up for people's rights when it's easy or popular to do so. It's whether we recognize rights when it's difficult, when it's unpopular. We are a society that stands up for people's rights, and when governments fail to respect people's rights, we all end up paying.
If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. But don't think you can get on a plane or a train besides vaccinated people and put them at risk.
I'm really not sure what he's referring to here, because vaccines have been proven to basically do absolutely nothing when it comes to transmission. But the jabs were highly endorsed by the World Economic Forum. Even billionaires like Bill Gates were all for it because he was heavily invested in them at the time. Is this part of what young global leaders are supposed to be like? Well, that's what many analysts are saying, suggesting that Trudeau is more of a puppet with strings reaching to different corners of the world. Some supposedly even reaching the far islands of China. Now, this is a huge deal because we now know that Canada tried to hide that Chinese spies were able to infiltrate their biolabs. So back in 2022, Trudeau and Chinese President Xi Jinping, they saw each other at the G20 Summit. Now, many were surprised because it was visibly clear that Xi was scolding Trudeau in front of everyone, even the press. The problem was that Trudeau leaked details of a prior G20 Summit meeting. The Chinese president, through an interpreter, said that everything that the two of them discussed were leaked to the press. He said that this was not appropriate, adding that this isn't the way that their conversation should be conducted. Trudeau looked visually flustered and had to go to the restroom right after the discussion. Could this be why it took so long for the news of Chinese spies in Canada to leak out? Because many experts believe that 2 spies is a low number, a very low number. It's hard to estimate just how many may actually be inside of their country. But just like the United States, it's expected that there are at least a few thousand. But what do you guys make of all that? Now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to do my best to keep you guys informed on everything that's going on that really matters to us. Before I go, I want to thank you guys so much for your time. Keep safe, and I'll see you on the next one.